Chapter 6, Lesson 6, on the journey to moral courage. In times of moral crisis, moderation is a cop-out. It's Valentine's Day, and I am not feeling love around me. Moderate Muslims in Chicago are debating me about whether it's urgent to stop the stoning of women. Stoning is a heinous form of execution to which some Muslim women, especially in Iran, are still vulnerable. So what's the debate? Well, these moderates reject outright my call for a ban on stoning. Instead, they say I should settle for a mere moratorium, meaning a temporary halt to stoning. So I propose a thought experiment. Suppose it's your sister who's just been sentenced to death by stoning. Is a temporary halt good enough then? One of the moderates accuses me of unfairly personalizing the issue. Hello? I'm humanizing it. And another moderate rolls her eyes and snaps, well, what do you want from us? And I say, to lead by example. In this chapter, I'm equipping you, the reader, to figure out who's a mealy-mouthed moderate and who's a real reformer. And in the course of doing that, I'm also answering a question that a lot of us have. Why don't more moderate Muslims speak up about abuses of power in Islamic communities? And my answer to the question is this: because unlike moderate Christians and moderate Jews today, moderate Muslims are not very moderate at all. They're orthodox. They exhibit all of the hallmarks of orthodoxy, including dogma and fear. And what moderate Muslims are afraid of is busting out of groupthink. I'll give you a really classic example. Moderate Muslims are so consumed with Western imperialism that they've distracted themselves from dealing with the imperialists within Islam. Those religious extremists who in the last 10 years alone have maimed and injured and raped and tortured and murdered more Muslims than any foreign power has. And why do they deny this? Because they're so steeped in groupthink, in group identity, that to speak out would be to sell out the group. And so moderate Muslims have actually become part of Islam's problem, not part of the solution. Mind you, moderate Muslims aren't the only people who've ever had this problem. Back in the 60s, many moderate Christians opposed activists like Martin Luther King Jr. And he shot back to them that, rooting out deep corruption can never be an act of moderation. It is always an act of intense love for your people and for humanity. And in the same way, I'm arguing that it won't be moderation, it'll be moral courage that addresses the grim aspects of honor culture, including the stoning of women. And so in this chapter, I empower you to figure out whose side you are on. And if you come from a human rights perspective, if you believe that everybody, regardless of what religion or culture they're born into, that everybody deserves a basic set of dignities, then it's the reformers who are going to be your friends. And you have to figure out how to find them.